And also just one piece of Meccano, and there it is, a little pulley wheel, and here's some original Meccano. That's a small Meccano set and an accessory outfit just to remind people what Meccano looked like, and that was made in Liverpool. Frank Hornby was a Liverpool man who invented Meccano just over 100 years ago, and his factory was in Binns Road in Old Swan, and he became a very wealthy man. And his firm made not only the Meccano that we have here, but also dinky toys and Hornby trains. And Hornby trains are still going strong, and people still collect Meccano today. And there are Meccano clubs, and people make things out of Meccano, and the people collect and run Hornby trains. You know, this is something, how one piece of Meccano came to be lost here in the park, goodness knows, but it's an interesting find which has local, some local relevance. What reminded me about the money was that 100 years ago, when he was setting up the firm, he had to borrow £5 to register it and you know, make the arrangements for setting up his firm in Meccano. And he borrowed that from a friend, and £5 in 1907 would be worth £1,000 today. So you can see that money has lost its value very considerably, and anybody who lost a silver threepenny piece or a silver sixpence would have been very upset in Victorian times. It was money worth having. You didn't tend to go on the bus or anything like that if you could walk. Even for a penny or twopenny fare, you would walk. And one of the other things we found, just one single glass ollie, just a little circle of glass, which I always call an ollie, because I'm told that boys collected them up to play ollies with, but in fact they came from the stopper of a lemonade bottle. There's a lemonade bottle. And there's the ollie shaking about in it, and that was to stop the fizz evaporating. It was before screw caps and before crown corks, obviously the sort of corks we have today that you take off the top of a bottle. This one's from M. Walker and Sons Limited, Walker's Warrington Ales, and of course his home was in Gattaca, and so that's another bit of local interest. So that's the bottle from which that stopper would have come. I find it difficult to believe that little boys would have used them as ollies, because in order to get the ollie out you had to break the bottle. But in fact you could have taken that bottle back and got a penny for it, which would mean that those glass ollies were all a penny each, and I just don't believe the boys did. They may have found broken bottles and taken them. I can't believe that they would have sort of wasted the opportunity of going and getting a penny just to take out the glass ollie. Right, one of the other things that we found, which I thought was interesting, it just turned up, was the lid of a toothpaste jar. Wood's Areca Nut toothpaste, a sixpenny jar, and if you think about what I've just been saying about the value of money, in fact it would have only been comfortably off people that bought toothpaste. Ordinary people probably would have just brushed their teeth with plain water or water with salt in it, and they wouldn't have been spending, if your wages were £1 for a week and you're supposed to keep your family and pay your rent and buy all your food with your £1, you weren't going to spend sixpence on toothpaste. But I have got here a complete toothpaste jar, and as you can see the toothpaste would have been in there, and it was solid, and you rubbed your toothbrush on it like, I mean, I think the most recent sort was dentifrice that you could do that. You used to be able to get it until recently. But this would be, again, I imagine, I don't know, about 1840 or something like that, and that must have come from the house. Somebody in the house must have had that, and it certainly wouldn't have come from one of the labourers on the estate who wasn't about to spend sixpence on toothpaste. Other bits and pieces we found. Right, well, let's have a look and see what's in here. We found the remains of a toy cat pistol. Some little boy must have lost that and probably been a bit upset about it. And we've got the bits of it. There we are. There's your remains of a toy cat pistol. And this is one before it was a remain. And lots of people will remember that. It was the sort that had a strip of 100 caps, and it used to go like that. This particular one, and I'm sure that one, is probably about 1950 or something like that, because they didn't do the 100 shots until after the war, I don't think, except for in America, and we used to just fire one cap at a time. And the really fancy ones with plastic butts and coloured silver and, you know, Hopalong Cassidy or Roy Rogers or something like that, they probably came in the mid-50s or something like that, unless you were very lucky and had a relative who went to America, perhaps a sailor, but came back and brought you back these things. I remember being very jealous of little boys that had that sort of thing. So we got the cap pistol and bits of cap pistol. We also found some lead soldier, bits of, very few actually, but some little bits of lead soldier. And there we are, and you see those. There's somebody standing there, and that is the behind end of a horse, and that's another sort of lead soldier. And what I have here now is what they would have looked like originally. There he is, he's standing there with his rifle, sort of waiting in case anybody comes. He's probably saying something like, "Halt, who goes there?" with that one. And there's the horse's rump, and there's the officer on his horse. That's the machine. These lead soldiers were made by a firm called Britons. They started making them in 1899 and continued until, well, have continued on to the present day. They're not made of lead anymore. They stopped making them out of lead in 1966 because it became illegal. But they, you can still go and buy Britain's soldiers, all hand painted like that. They're all hand painted, and all the different regiments and Scotties and sailors and every possible and imaginable sort of figure. People would have a great many of them, really. And I'm told that Winston Churchill used to pay with these lead soldiers, although that was before Britain started to make them, when they were probably hollow. And people did war games with them and things. So they were quite interesting, and I was quite pleased to see those as something a little bit different.